and welcome to Law Unfiltered. I'm Jonathan Mason.
And I am Sonia Madison. And I was listening to Miss Melania Trump do her speech at the Republican National Convention yesterday, and my initial thought was, wow, she is pretty poised, has a nice outfit, she's speaking words that I thought sounded a little familiar, but still I was like, okay. And then the next day, I read that she took it straight from the script of Miss Michelle Obama.
Well, parts of it.
Not the whole thing. But I would dare say, when she's talking a lot about what Donald Trump does in terms of bringing, certain values back to his children and back to a generation, I mean, those were kind of those moments where you're like, yes, we value hard work, we value making sure there's opportunities, all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking plagiarism. And then I'm thinking copyright. Is that fair, or should I not go there?
I mean, it may technically be a matter of copyright, but practically I don't see it as a copyright issue. I think it's just more of a plagiarism and ethics type of issue or credibility issue for the political candidate. And one of the things that has emerged since the revelation that, because CNN has just been playing it over and over, side-by-side speeches.
Right.
And it's, half the Republicans have denied that there's even any plagiarism, like Chris Christie, for example, which this happened to President Obama, I think in 2008 maybe, with a speech that he took some material from Duval Patrick's speech.
Okay, I didn't know about
and
that.
he said he did. He said, "Yeah, I did. It was a good speech." And you know what? That
At
was
least he admitted it.
right.
To it.
That was it. But what they've done is denied that it was borrowed from, or taken from, or plagiarized, and then try to turn around and say that it's a political issue now because anytime a strong woman stands up to Hillary Clinton, then they're going to attack.
So they don't attack Hillary Clinton being the strong woman that's standing up.
So what I guess what I'm saying is, like, the response is, it's they always say the cover up is worse than the crime, and this is an example. I mean, but I would just think that they didn't know that so much.
Oh, I don't believe it.
Was borrowed from it. Somebody had to know, though. Somebody had to. I mean, it's not a coincidence that so many of those words were verbatim.
Well, their problem was she came out in the beginning when they were asking her, what did you do to prepare for your speech? Are you ready for your speech? And she goes on about, well, I wrote it myself and I really drew on my own experiences. So once you put that out there, it's hard to then come back and say, well, actually, I researched a whole bunch of speeches and put together ideas that I agree with, which to me would have been fine. But again, you've made it seem like these are your own personal words. This is something you put down on paper. You didn't look at anything. And now you're trying to at least tell us, I'm going to, for lack of a better word, piss on your shoe and tell you it's raining. I mean, it's...
Well, and not only that, it's an indirect endorsement of the Obamas and their values.
It is.
If nothing else.
But they don't want to do that, right?
Oh, clearly they're not going to say that or do that or recognize that. But kind of getting back to your original question, and one of the reasons I don't think, it's not necessarily a copyright matter in a practical sense, is because, it's not like Michelle Obama is out selling this speech. There's a market for this speech, and they, damage the market for it, or cause her financial injury.
So you have to be selling your work to have some type of copyright protection?
You don't have to be selling your work, but I think it would go toward damages if someone ruined the market for your product through their infringement. Then that would go towards your damages.
So then, for lack of a better, I guess, definition, she may have a claim, just no damage.
It just may be, sometimes you have a breach of contract or you have a copyright infringement, and technically you do, but the only damages might be nominal where, you get $1, she infringed. So, it's a complete difference. And we talked, before we started filming, we were talking about music in the campaigns, and that's happened a lot where, they get these theme songs for their campaign, but then they forget to get the songwriter's permission to use that, and that has happened. It's not technically plagiarism, but it is copyright infringement per se.
Which I think might have happened in this case. They had "We Are the Champions," who was written by a bisexual man, and everybody, of course, Twitter lit up saying, "I doubt this bisexual man would approve of his song being played at a Republican convention."
Right, and these songs become very political because I'm not going to say one party or the other uses this, songs without permission more than the other, but if, say, you're a Democrat and a Republican candidate uses your song, then, not only do you not have your permission, but it's someone who has beliefs that you don't believe in and you don't want associated with you. So say you were a songwriter or an artist or both, and a political candidate used your song and it was a divisive candidate, and that, that could injure your market. That if you're on tour, people could start protesting your tour, they could stop coming to your tour, and that could have real financial consequences.
So in that case, you'll have damage.
Right. So you would have damages in a situation like that. But just getting back to the speech, whether it's copyright infringement or not, it's just, and I haven't seen the news since earlier, a few hours ago. So by now, I don't know if someone's been fired or they figured out who was responsible for the content, because I'm sure they're going to find someone to blame for that. But it's just like it's taken the focus totally away from, this is their time to shine, these 3 or 4 days. And the first morning after, the first night of speeches, everybody's talking about plagiarism of the speech. And Twitter has just gone wild with memes and, all sorts of things. And, there's every historical quote in the world has been attributed to Ms. Trump, and just it's a crazy situation.
And to be fair, I think everyone expected to some degree a circus. I don't think anyone felt like their convention was really going to go drama-free. And in fact, the morning, or at least by the afternoon, people were already getting out because there has to be 9 states to kind of contest the nominee. And there were almost 9. They had people going into the audience, talking to the delegates, saying, please change your vote. Let's not make this, worse, trying to protect their face before the evening comes. Wow. So you had that happen. Then you did have hackers during the actual speeches. I thought Giuliani's speech was, again, crazy. You're talking about one white America, one black America, one America. You're talking about treaties. You're talking about missiles, all this kind of stuff that seems to be a little bit outrageous in the sense that, okay, yes, it's an issue, but you have brought in something that really wasn't an issue here. They're not making nuclear wars right now. We have put treaties in place to prevent that from happening, and we oversaw those treaties to make sure it's happening. But yes, you're going to make it seem like, no, Obama did this for the purpose of them bringing nuclear weapons here. So it was already going into a crazy space before Donald even took the stage. But then he takes the stage as if he's on a gladiator show with a shadow, backdrop. And it really takes you to the Apprentice logo. I don't know if you ever remember what that looked like, but it was literally his black shadow, over. So, I dare to say that this speech really, did a lot to deter people from the issues, because I feel like they were already getting there anyways, just by virtue of who their nominee was. But you're right, it didn't help their case when she's saying, I'm going to be this first lady who has all these innovative ideas, who has all these values and all this, and you're actually looking at someone who's trying to be someone else. It's again that appropriation of a minority figure, but yet you're going to take all the credit for it.
Right. And there was another tweet I saw, and I'm hesitant to bring it up because you never know if they're authentic, but in Donald Trump's congratulatory tweet to his wife, it was the exact same language that President Obama did in 2008 for his wife. So, I don't know. It's almost as if someone's trying to sabotage the Republicans
I'm
by by deliberately copying. Because I just can't think that someone wouldn't, if they know they borrowed that much, that people wouldn't figure it out.
And also, I can't think that whoever wrote it didn't do some research. Like, I'm sure you looked at past speeches done by potential first ladies, and you use that to at least try to figure out what your outline is going to be.
Oh.
And so, for even whoever wrote it to say, "Well, I didn't look at hers," I would be like, "That's completely."
That was clearly a lie.
Yeah.
I just tried to say that.
You're either showing your incompetence or you're showing you have no, lack of research, value in what you're doing. So no, I wouldn't buy that at all.
Well, we've got 2 to 3 more days of fireworks, so we'll see what happens. I think I better watch tonight. Didn't watch it last night. But having this going on reminds me of being in court when, when the parties are doing their closing arguments and the other party's going first, and they're just sitting there saying all these horrible things about you or your client, and you can't do anything but sit there and listen until it's your turn. So, next week, then
when
the Democrats will have their chance to respond to all this.
CNN's helping them out anyways, playing the side-by-side clips, and MSNBC's doing it as well.
Well, I had jury duty today. Well, I didn't actually have to serve, but I was in the pool, and they had CNN on, and they played it 500 times back to back to back to back to back. And I was like, okay, already. I put my earbuds in because, it was interesting the first few times, but I don't need to hear it 500 times. So you're right. CNN is definitely doing its part, and I'm sure some of the other networks were doing it as well.
Right. And again, Twitter immediately took hold of it, which I couldn't think back to what Michelle said, especially since that was 2008, but the fact that they were on it.
I wonder who was the first to sort of put this all together.
Yeah,
I don't know who first reported that. I have to go look that up, but that was a great find.
Right. No, it was incredible because, again, my first thought was, okay, she's poised, she's articulate, she's taking her time, and little did I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's good stuff. I'm sure we'll have something else to talk about coming off one or both of these conventions for one of our future episodes.
Well, it was always good talking to you about it now. So you're going to have to watch it next time.
Yeah. I've got to keep my eye on it now. I don't want to miss anything good. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Law Unfiltered.